dear students, today we will study environmental sciences and what is environmental pollution in it. Environmental pollution and control. Firstly, we will study what we mean by environmental pollution and how we can control it. Environmental pollution can be defined as any undesirable change in physical, chemical or biological characteristic of any component of environment. What are the components of environment? There are basically three important components of environment: air, water and land, or we can call it as soil also, which can cause harmful effect on various forms of life and property even. So, environmental pollution or environmental pollution can be called as any change in physical, chemical or biological components of environment, that is, and the components are air, water, soil or land we can call it, which can cause harmful effects on various forms of life and property. Pollution is the introduction of contaminants into the nature. It is the introduction of contaminants into the nature and the natural environment that causes the after effects, which leads to the adverse changes in the atmosphere, which we are looking nowadays also and feeling also. So, the pollutants get merged into environment and environmental pollution. They cause environmental pollution when they are dispersed into the nature or natural environment. They cause typical adverse changes in the environment which cause environmental pollution or pollution altogether. The term pollution can be defined as influence of any substances that cause nuisance. That nuisance can be in the form of air, damaged air, that can be in the form of polluted water, that can be in the form of dispersed pollutants on the land or soil even. So, that nuisance can be in the form of noise also, any unwanted noise which is teasing us or which is disturbing us. So, the term pollution is defined as influence of any substances which can cause a nuisance. A nuisance, that means harmful effects and uneasiness to the organisms. That uneasiness can also be included and seen in the form of noise or any odor, any foul smell. Okay. We all see that ki pollution causes foul smell, odors here and there in the atmosphere also. So, all the things altogether can be comprised as it causes nuisance, harmful effects, uneasiness to the organisms. Pollution may be defined as addition of undesirable material into the environment as a result of human activities. Yes, my dear students, the human activities are the major sources of pollution, are the most important and major sources of pollution. So, we can call as pollution may be defined as addition of undesirable, the material which is not desired by the earth, which is not desired by the environment, and that material is dispersed into the environment as a result of human activities, human actions. The presence in or the introduction of the environment of a substance which has harmful effects on the nature, on the environment is called as pollution. Now, look into the history of how pollution and what are the times since when pollution is being caused and it is affecting our nature and our environment as a whole. Pollution is not new, but it started from prehistoric times when man created the first fires even. When they created the first fires, human burnt coal, burnt wood to cook food. That produced the smoke and that emitted the smoke caused pollution. So, we can see that it is not new, it has been started from the prehistoric times when there was no invention of fire or invention of anything. So, human used to ignite fire with the help of burning of wood, with the help of burning of dried leaves, etc., which also caused black sooty smoke and which was emitted into the atmosphere. So, that pollution was also very harmful and very dangerous and which has been started since prehistoric times. We all know when humans used to do that and used to create fire by these following ways which I have told you. Metal forging also significantly adds to air pollution level, but the level of pollution was low and absorbed by the earth's natural system. Main sources of pollution were from animals and their waste, household waste, smoke and ash. Moving ahead, But with the industrial revolution, invention of machines, increasing factories, increasing industries day by day, industrialization, vehicles, urbanization altogether has increased levels and types of pollution in our atmosphere, and these all things are damaging living beings and human beings also. So, now the pollution are caused mainly by pollutants. We all know that they are caused mainly by pollutants. So, now let us study what is pollutant and how they cause damage to the atmosphere and cause pollution. Substances that are causing harmful effects which can cause environmental pollution or even uneasiness to the organisms are called pollutants. As I told you before also, that the substance which cause any of the uneasiness, like any of the nuisance also, which is not tolerable to human beings, it is also included in pollution. It is a physical, chemical or biological changes, biological substances which are released into the environment, which is directly or indirectly harmful to the whole biome or whole biomass. That means, it could be a physical, it could be a chemical, or it could be a biological component or biological substance also that is released into our atmosphere or our environment, and it is causing any sort of nuisance, any kind of uneasiness to the living beings, and it is thus polluting our atmosphere, our whole biomass as a whole, our whole biome. Pollutants can take the form of chemical substances also, such as noise, heat, light, etc. This can be any form, there can be any of the forms which can cause uneasiness or nuisance to the living beings or environment, like noise, heat or light. Any of the excessive form of these of the pollutants can cause nuisance or uneasiness to the living beings in any of the forms. Have your people noticed that some of the times how noise pollution irritates the animals, how noise pollution irritates the birds, right? So, see, we can see that change, that particular disturbance, that particular irritation, that particular uneasiness or nuisance in our atmosphere, in our environment on a daily basis. We can, if we start noticing it, we can easily see that change and the effect that change is causing on our whole biome. A pollutant may cause any of the effect, like it can cause short term effect, it can cause long term effect or long term damage, either by changing the growth rate of plants, animals, species, or by interfering the human entities, comfort level, health, property, values, etc. That means, it can damage, it can cause a long term damage also in a, if we see our picture far sighted way, then we can see that it can not only cause a short term damage for a day or two or for a few months or weeks, it can cause a long term damage of our whole biome and whole atmosphere. So, it can cause a short term damage or effect either by changing the growth rate of plants and animals, and which plants and animals are altogether associated with the human beings, or it can cause or it can affect the human nature or human living or human life, changes of life, and it can damage the human amenities, comfort, health level, property, values, everything. So, this is the time we should put a stop to our those activities which is causing damage to our atmosphere and environment at a alarming rate. This is the time. So, now let us study the types of pollutants, right. Pollutants may be classified by various criteria, like by the origin, by the effect, by their properties, by their controllability. By the origin, whether they are natural or man-made. That means, what do you mean by man-made? Man-made means synthetic. So, by the origin, pollutants can be natural or synthetic or semi-synthetic. That means, semi-synthetic, which are natural components and turned into synthetic derivatives. Then secondly, pollutants with their effect. How pollutants have their effect on humans or living beings or whole biome. So, by their effect, like affecting organ, affecting species, or on entire living body. What is the sort of effect and what is the extent of effect any pollutant is causing on human beings? By the properties like mobility, persistent, toxicity, etc. Mobility means that pollutant moves here and there, it travels up, or it is stagnant. Persistent, is it a short term pollutant or a long term? That means it is a temporary pollutant, it can diminish in some time, after some time, or it is a permanent pollutant. Then toxicity, that means it is how, what is the toxicity level or what is the damage level of that particular pollutant when it damages the biome. Okay, is it a short term damage or it is a long term damage? Then by the controllability, how that particular pollutant can be controlled. Is it easy or is it tough to remove that particular pollutant? So, now we can see that human activities either directly or indirectly affect the environment adversely. Human activities affect the environment adversely, they have very adverse effect on our atmosphere and environment, but is it effects are directly or indirectly? We have to look into it and we have to put a check on it. Automobiles emit on their tailpipes oxides of nitrogen, sulphur, sulphur dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, like these all are harmful gases which are emitted into the atmosphere like anything, and a complex mixture, and they form, after getting into the atmosphere, they form a complex mixture of unburnt hydrocarbon that is very injurious for our trachea, for our lungs, and the black soot which they produce is a totally a poison for us all, and they pollute the atmosphere very badly. So, the human activities either directly or indirectly affect our atmosphere, affect our environment adversely to an adverse extent. Automobiles emit these sort of gases which I told you, like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulphur dioxide, and either they form a complex mixture or they make a unburnt black soot, unburnt hydrocarbon. When they are burnt up, they form a black soot which is anyways more harmful than these gases alone. So, they can be these emitted smoke, these emitted gases can either affect the environment directly or they can affect the environment indirectly also after creating a complex mixture of hydrocarbon, or either by creating a complex mixture of hydrocarbon or by creating a black soot. Okay. So, altogether their effect is very harmful for us all. Now, secondly, most important pollutants are industries and factories, as we all know, and the effluents from all the tanneries, industries and factories contain many harmful chemicals and emit foul smell also. That means not only they cause land pollution and water pollution, by causing foul smell they cause air pollution also. A stone crusher, for example, is a good example of noise pollution when there is some construction of roads or mining of road, anything mining of hills, etc. A stone crusher adds a lot of suspended particulate matter and a lot of noise also into the atmosphere, which is not required at all, but we all have to bear it. We all have to bear it because it is a part of our human activities. So, that creates a lot of noise pollution. These are only the few examples which shows human activities, what sort of human activities damages environment and atmosphere, and how these human activities pollute our environment and pollute our climate, environment, our all the ambience around us is polluted, is damaged by all our activities only, right. So, now proceeding ahead, we should learn about the types of pollution. So, first type of pollution is air pollution, then second type of pollution is water pollution. Air pollution is the pollution of air, the air being being getting more and more polluted nowadays, getting more and more polluted day by day. Water pollution is the pollution of water. Water gets contaminated with several sorts of salts, minerals, impurities, debris, domestic waste, industrial waste, etc. Okay. Then land pollution. Land pollution is the pollution of contaminants, pollution of land with contaminants which are being dispersed onto the land, on the soil totally, and these dispersed contaminants damage our land in a very bad way. So, now let us study these in detail. Air pollution may be defined as the presence of any solid, liquid and gaseous substances including noise, radioactive radiation in the atmosphere in such concentration that they may be directly or indirectly injurious to humans and other living organisms like plants, properties, and interferes with the normal growth, upgradation processes, etc. So, what is air pollution, my dear students? Air pollution may be defined as the presence of any solid, liquid, gaseous substances including noise also. Apart from these, noise also being included in a pollutant, in a pollution causing agent. Noise and radioactive radiations which are coming out from radioactive sources in the atmosphere in such concentration which is being very harmful for all the biome, all the biomass as a whole. That may cause either directly or indirectly injurious to humans and other living organisms like plants, properties, and interferes with the normal growth and normal bringing up and normal life processes of animals, plants, living beings, etc. So, this is the air pollution altogether. We can include radioactive substances and noise also in it, because noise also get dispersed into the air. Radioactive substances radiates their radiation into the air. So, air pollution can include noise and radioactive substances emission also. So, students, now let us study about the second type of pollution, what that is water pollution. We all know what is water pollution. Water pollution can be defined as the alteration in physical, chemical or biological characteristics of water. That means there can be alteration in physical state, it can get more viscous because of dispersion of all the raw materials, all the impurities, contaminants into the water. Water loses its transparency, right? More the water is contaminated, less it is transparent, right students? So, when more of the contaminants are dispersed into the water, it gets more and more viscous, its properties, physical properties changes therein. Okay. Now, so chemical properties changes, it changes its physical property, it changes its solubility, it changes its components, it changes its chemical built up, like there is no pure H2O in it. So, H2O is its chemical composition, and now after getting contaminated and polluted, no pure H2O is present in it. There are several minerals, there are several components which are also present in water apart from H2O. So, its chemical composition changes therein, right students, and also biological characteristics of water also changes, right. That means what is biological characteristics of water? Like it should support all the flora and fauna inside the water, but after getting contaminated, is it able to support all the flora and fauna inside the water? No. Is it not able to support all the flora and fauna inside the water? All the living organisms inside the water gets badly affected then when water gets contaminated and water gets polluted. Its sea level either decreases or increases. The contaminants which are dispersed into the water bodies like ocean, rivers, lakes, ponds, the living organism there, the living life there gets badly affected, So, all the biological characteristics of water, the flora and fauna it supports, it is supposed to support, is not like that. It does not support as the flora and fauna and the living organisms which need pure H2O, which need all the things which should be present in the pure water. So, in that way biological characteristics of water also changes either by through any natural activities on human activities and making it unsuitable for its designated use. It occurs when pollutants are directly or indirectly discharged into the water body. So, how does it occur, students? It occurs when pollutants are either directly or indirectly discharged into the water bodies without adequate treatment to remove harmful components, without treating the water, without treating the component so that it can cause least damage to the water. We human irresponsibly directly directly disperse all the contaminants into the water bodies that affect entire atmosphere as a whole. So, now the third type of pollution, that is land pollution. We all see this kind of pollution nowadays in our day to day life, and it is the major cause of demolition of earth's land surfaces. The demolition of the damage of earth's land surfaces or soil surfaces by human activities and misuse of land resources as a whole is called land pollution. Its destruction of land surfaces either naturally or as a result of human activities such as industrial development, agricultural development, coal tar mining, hills mining, deforestation, overcrowded landfills, damaged landfills, polluted landfills, the hills of all the pollutant material, all the domestic waste as a whole, these all the human activities. Or what are the human activities which causes land pollution? Industrial development, agricultural development, factories, coal mining, hill mining, deforestation, overcrowding of landfills, over pollution of landfills, etc. causes land pollution as a whole and damages our environment totally. Okay. So, this was all about environmental pollution. What is environmental pollution, how it causes the damage, how it affects our biome totally, all the biomass totally at all the levels, not only in air, it can cause damage at all the levels like air level, water level and land level also. So, we have seen, I taught you how sea organisms, how the flora and fauna inside the ocean, inside the river bodies, inside the water bodies gets badly affected with the air, with the water pollution, and with the contamination of water their life badly disturbs. This is not only applicable on the water bodies only, this is applicable on the whole biomass totally, in the whole biome totally. That means, whole biome which is being divided into three: land, water and air. Irrespective of these, there are several other pollution also like noise and radioactive pollution also. Noise and radioactive pollution get also dispersed into the air, so it can be included in a form of air pollution. But I taught you that pollutants and environmental pollution cause a damage to the all the environment, all the biomass as a whole, and it is very harmful for all the human beings, all the living beings. So, it should be stopped, it should be curbed and it should be cured right away to have a healthy and happy living. Thanks a lot. Thank you, students.